Woman thinks man is poor, but he shows her the truth. She stood there in the aisle, but her legs couldn't move. She was stuck there frozen in the aisle. Her face blushed a deep red. He had heard rude comments like these before, but never felt like it was worth the time or the energy to react to them. But this time was an exception. He was going to get her back. Andy Ross arrived at the front doors to the supermarket in his town. He felt a lot dirtier than he usually did. He felt the grime and sweat bead on his forehead and slowly drip down his brow. He knew that any dirtier and someone could have called a biohazard unit to pick him up. But it wasn't his fault. He walked into the grocery store feeling a weight on his chest more than normally. At least the air conditioning was nice in the heat. He was ready for what would happen once he opened the doors to the market. Everyone around him stared. He knew he would have to be quick. But something would happen before he could make it to the right aisle. Small girl was standing holding her mother's hand. He was fixated on the oranges that were on her mother's dress. She then saw Ross. He could tell that her young mind didn't know that it was rude to stare. But she wouldn't even be the problem. It would be her mother. Ross was there to grab a big bag of apples. He saw that there was a special on them and he loved them. So why not take the store up on its great offer? The entire time the small girl still stared at him. But her mother took one look at him and scowled. She pulled her daughter away and said something. Ross sighed. It wasn't like it hadn't happened before. But seeing adults acting so rude, even scared, was beyond him. Didn't everyone deserve a basic amount of respect? Still, he shrugged it off and went for the bakery section. Bread was a necessity for his existence. Suddenly the mother rounded the corner. She braced as if he had pulled out a weapon and demanded her purse. She then pulled her daughter close and gave him a wide berth as she tried to pass him. As if that wasn't bad enough, she leaned down and whispered something to her daughter again, and this time he could hear what it was. This is why you have to stay in school. Otherwise, you'll end up poor and dirty like him. Ross froze, his hand resting on a large loaf of bread. That was it. He had been very patient and understanding, not just then, but so many times before. He wasn't going to stay quiet with this woman. Excuse me, he said, trying to make his posture as least threatening as possible. But I couldn't help hearing what you said to your daughter. This was going to be a life lesson that she would never forget, nor her daughter. Being poor doesn't mean someone deserves to be talked about that way. His next words would leave her eyes wide. I'm in construction. I'm a very dirty, very educated man. He explained how he not only did he have a college degree, but he also had many medical certificates. That's right, he was someone who could save lives. But Ross wasn't nearly done. Assuming I'm uneducated because of my appearance is ignorant in itself. Even if I was poor and didn't finish school, that doesn't give you the right to pass judgment on others, or teach your daughter to be judgmental either. By then, the woman's ears had turned bright red. Her daughter, on the other hand, nodded in understanding, clearly absorbing the important lesson. Ross wished the woman a nice day and left her, still stunned, in the middle of the aisle. As he stood at the register and paid for her groceries, the cashier smiled, knowing him well from so many previous visits. Rough day to be doing construction, she commented, seeing how the rest of the line was scrunching their noses. Way too hot. He grabbed his bags, thanked the cashier, and left for the parking lot. He had no idea, but there was going to be one final slap in the face for the rude customer as she piled her own groceries in her car. Ross pulled out his keys and unlocked his Mercedes-Benz. Ross couldn't help but chuckled as he pulled away. There was, however, one last thing he wanted to do. As soon as he got home, he posted his experience on social media. He wanted the rest of the world to learn the same important lesson. The reaction wasn't anything he could anticipate. So many people reached out from all over the world, sharing similar experiences and agreeing that appearances can be deceiving. But that everyone, no matter what, deserved respect.